the day a dog became a guardian angel. In a small village surrounded by tall mountains and endless forests, lived a quiet man named Ethan and his dog Shadow. Shadow was not born strong or brave. When Ethan first saw him, Shadow was weak, muddy, and trembling near a broken fence on a rainy night. His ribs showed through his skin, and his eyes carried a sadness that words could never explain. Ethan didn't plan to keep a dog that night, but Shadow chose him. From that moment on, Shadow followed Ethan everywhere. He waited at the door every morning. He listened silently when Ethan talked about his worries. And every night, Shadow slept beside Ethan's bed, as if guarding his dreams. Point one. Ethan often smiled and said, "You saved me more than I saved you." But neither of them knew how true those words would become. One freezing winter evening, Ethan finished work late. Snow was falling heavily, and the road through the forest was almost invisible. Shadow sat quietly in the passenger seat, watching the dark trees pass by. Suddenly, the car hit black ice. The steering wheel spun out of control. The car slid, crashed through a wooden barrier, and fell down a steep slope. The sound of metal tearing through silence echoed through the forest. Then nothing. When Ethan slowly opened his eyes, pain filled his body. Blood ran down his forehead. His leg was crushed beneath the dashboard, trapped and unmoving. The cold air entered the broken windows, biting into his skin. "Shadow," Ethan whispered weakly. The door had burst open during the crash. Shadow jumped out and rushed to Ethan's side. He whined, barked softly, and licked Ethan's frozen hands. Point two. Ethan tried to move, but his body refused. "I can't get out, boy," he said, his voice shaking. "It's bad." His phone was destroyed. The road above was silent. Snow continued falling, slowly covering the car like a grave. Shadow understood. Something was very wrong. Shadow ran uphill, barking loudly into the darkness. No response. He ran back to. Shadow returned and pressed his body tightly against Ethan's chest, sharing his warmth. He licked Ethan's face again and again, refusing to let him sleep. But Shadow knew staying wasn't enough. So he made the hardest choice of his life. He left. Point three. Shadow ran through sharp branches, deep snow, and freezing wind. His paws cracked and bled, but he never slowed down. Every step was driven by one thought only: save Ethan. After a long, painful run, Shadow reached the edge of town. A small gas station glowed under yellow lights. Shadow ran straight toward it and barked with everything he had left. People came out, surprised. "Where did this dog come from?" someone asked. Shadow barked again, then ran a few steps away, stopped, turned back, and barked louder. A man knelt down. "Hey, buddy, what's wrong?" Shadow gently pulled the man's jacket and ran toward the forest road. "This dog needs help," the man said. "Follow him." Emergency vehicles arrived within minutes. Shadow led them back through the forest, never looking back, never stopping. They found the car buried under snow. Rescuers rushed in. Point four. "He's alive," one of them shouted. Ethan was pulled out just in time. Doctors later said that without Shadow, Ethan would not have survived the night. Days later, in a warm hospital room, Ethan slowly opened his eyes. The first thing he felt was a familiar nose against his hand. "Shadow." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. "You didn't give up on me," he whispered. Shadow wagged his tail softly and rested his head on Ethan's chest. Shadow became a hero in the village. He received a medal. His story spread everywhere. But Shadow never cared about praise. All he ever wanted was Ethan safe. From that day on, Shadow stayed closer than ever, watching, protecting, loving without limits. Because a dog is not just a pet. A dog is a promise, a guardian, a soul that would run through pain, fear, and darkness, just to bring you back to life.